Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Off the Clock Conversations with Lili and Lauren. I should start saying that at the beginning of every podcast. It does sound nice when I say it.
Yeah, it does.
Welcome to Off the Clock Conversations with Lili and Lauren on this lovely happy Thursday.
We need to talk about the fact that I've relapsed.
Oh no. What did Don't tell me it's with the doggies.
Yes, yes. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been getting danced on. I had stopped for so long. So for those of you who don't know, I have a weird relationship with my two chihuahuas, also two chihuahuas, so that says something. Um, yeah, so Poppy, and this is the problem. I came back from a trip. I hadn't seen Poppy. Poppy danced on me in the middle of the night to get water. Oh, you may ask, why isn't there water in your room? Poppy doesn't like the water in the room. Poppy needs to be carried off the bed. So Poppy needs mommy to take her off the bed, and she likes the water in the kitchen.
Oh wow.
Um, so Poppy woke me up and I caved. I caved because I missed her. And then
Oh.
she's been doing it. She was like, I guess we're doing this again. And then her little sister Lola was like, this sounds really fun. Everyone's having fun. I want to have fun too. So yes, I've relapsed. I have no boundaries left. Whenever they want to.
So let's take this back. Let's take it back for the listeners. In the beginning of starting our podcast, we have an episode on boundaries. I think it was actually the first episode we ever did, where Lauren, and I will validate, it's been like 16 episodes since. So the relapse is okay as long as we get you back on track. And if you really want to know the details of that boundary setting episode, please go back to episode 1 and listen to it. But so let's talk about boundaries actually. And I'll actually make the joke, and I really don't mean to sound insensitive, and I'm going to push past my anxiety and just be authentic and say, so in other words, you're kind of creating unhealthy personality disordered habits in your dogs.
Okay, first of all, that's rude. That's true. They run the world and I'm just living in it. Yeah, no, I realized the first time I did it, I was just like, oh, I missed Poppy so much. And then like the next 2 nights it happened, I was like, oh fuck, I'm here again. We're doing it. I was like, I'm literally, they wake me up whenever they feel like it. We go get some water and then I can't sleep.
Bro, why do you wake up in the middle? First of all, how do you? There is no way in hell I will wake up in the middle of the night. I think this is one of the things that I'm anxious about being a mother, because I'm like, I'm not gonna wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to feed you. Like, wait until I wake up at 8:30, which sounds very, very selfish of me. Um, how do you wake up and enable your dog drinking water in the kitchen?
It's like a team effort. Like Poppy starts crying and I have like I don't know. I'm a light sleeper, so I can hear her crying. And then she teams up with her little sister Lola. And then Lola goes in and does the things that Poppy won't do. Like Lola, would you wake up if somebody danced on your bladder
I think
and
I'll
then crawled up your face and then started pawing at your eyeballs?
Yeah, you have a softer heart. When you're sleeping, you have a softer heart. Like when I'm heartless, I will put that dog on the floor and literally say, "Go figure it out. Go figure it out." I don't know what to tell you. Or I'll tap on Adriel, which I'm sure he's going to be like, "Not my problem." Sounds like a personal problem.
And I had like effectively solved this problem. I just wasn't getting up. And so they would like touch my eyeballs and I would just turn over. But I cracked, which is interesting. And it's so just thinking about the evolution of boundaries and how other emotions can interfere with your ability to actually um like effectively hold them. Because I was like, I've been great. I've been like, I turn over, I have like a blanket over my head, and I'm like, don't look at my balls, Lola. But
No,
now,
it's actually normal. First of all, your vulnerabilities were high. You hadn't seen them in a while. So like that actually, I totally understand that. Missing them, wanting to take care of them, which this is the thing where I guess in today's boundary setting conversation, I think I can use a bit of um how giving into that emotion, let me start over. Let me say it this way. I
yeah,
have conversations with parents, specifically parents that like with adolescents and adults, where
yeah,
I always say, I understand that you love this child, whether it's an adolescent or a grown-ass adult, and you want to take care of them. But then that's where that taking care of them becomes the enabling
yeah,
of the bad behavior, of the problem behavior that you are complaining about constantly. And I think especially with borderline personality disorder, because it really is a specific diagnosis, but it's with every diagnosis. With addiction, they have similar issues, depression and anxiety, like saving and fixing, like for you, you're saving and fixing Poppy, which also I still like, and again, like most parents that love their children, it's literally like you don't like the water in the bedroom. I'll wake up and take you to the water in the kitchen. But again, like this is where there are times where parents get mad at me when I do this, because I'm like, seriously, is there a difference? Is there really that much of a difference? Like, yeah, but like then they're gonna throw the tantrum. Let them throw their fucking tantrum, man. Like it's water. I
like
know.
this is amazing
I don't
too.
mean to attack you. I love you very much, but I'm gonna treat you like a parent that I'm working with
I,
right
I need this like reality check because I realized I like this morning I slept through the night last night. They didn't dance.
now.
But on Wednesday night, and it's of course it has to be the day when I have a really early morning. I had a 7 a.m. meeting and I was like, and they danced.
Oh Lord.
And I was like, oh my God, it's starting. Like this isn't a one-time, it's
No.
a one-time problem situation. You're like, okay, I can get up one time in my life at 5 a.m. But you're like, every morning we're waking up for water breaks. It's not that cute anymore. Um, it is a harsh reality of the lack of boundary setting that has been in my household. But it's interesting because it's one of those things that like I like to think I wish I were immune to things as a therapist and as a behavioral therapist and being like, these are the things you have to do. But just as easy as it is for other people to fall back into these habits, it is for me too.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's the thing where it's normalizing that it's okay to fall into some of these habits, right? It's also normalizing that it's a beautiful thing that you care so much for Poppy and Lola, right? It really is truly a beautiful thing that you love them so much that you're kind of like, I will sacrifice my sleep and I will give you the bougie water in the kitchen, and I will take you to water, and I will take you all the way there and bring you back, and you go back to sleep while I lay there and think about everything and anything because I can't fall asleep. And that's the piece where what I always tell parents and families, you gotta work on the discomfort that comes from not giving that love, right? Because it really is a beautiful thing. And I actually have this conversation with my mom often because I have to tell my mom to set boundaries with me. And I'm like, Mom, I just, and with Adriel, I do the same thing. It's so, why do I tell people to set boundaries with me? I'm like a boundary setting thing. What is it?
I
A-
feel like you're like the boundary police. You're like, wait, whoa, what am I seeing here? But like,
But yeah, and I have to tell people like you have to say no to me. That's a boundary. And my mom will always, at least Adriel's like, okay, fine, I'll listen to you and I will say no. And I'm like, thank you. My mom is like, but you don't understand. The love of a parent, the love of a mother is like, I just want to give you everything. I'm like, I know, but it's not healthy. It's not okay. Like, you can't just give me everything I ask for all the time. That's where problems arise. Then I expect things, and then you get upset. And then I might, like, if I was really someone that wanted to push when it was like you couldn't give it to me, I would throw tantrums and I would act up, and then I would get aggressive, or I would say things to manipulate, which is like all the populations that I work with.
Mhm.
Which is why I think that's the thing where, for me, boundary setting is love.
It definitely is. It's not like the fun love. Like I much prefer the like give me everything you've got love. But yeah, there's no it's not sustainable. That's a different thing is like and I think it's interesting because we equate I think a lack of boundaries with love and like kind of similar to what I would say about like I think sometimes worry feels like a currency of love. Like these things feel like the way that we give love is like to, just giving in a way that we can't sustain our own lives. And so, yes, I would I would say that like it can easily kind of veer into that category. And so being able to have that awareness and it's one of those things like just as we're like I think witnessing our own burnout with things and there might be some things that were okay to give to, years ago. Like it was okay to have conversations. I don't know if you've noticed this um as we've aged, but like maybe like talking to somebody at like midnight, like when you were in your 20s, you're like, whatever, that sounds great. But now midnight is now like 9 p.m. for me.
Hmm?
And uh and then I go to bed. So it's
I love
like a very different.
that example. It's different. And this is not, sorry to cut you off, but I love that example. And I feel like I have to express this because I talk to, like, when I talk to my 20-something-year-old clients, um, and they are at an age where it's like they stay up to like 1, 2 in the morning, right? So like when they get a booty call text or like a text after 11 p.m., that's where for them, they're like, I don't see the problem. Like, the person's texting me, they're thinking of me, they're all of these things. And I'm like, listen, when I was your age, loved it. Love that text message. Like, that text message was like, oh my God, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like, I'm not bored anymore. I have someone to text and I have a conversation to have. And as you get older, you start realizing that that's actually boundary crossing, right? And you're enabling, like, you know how many people I've enabled to text me in the middle of the night, and only text me in the middle of the night. Thankfully, it was just text messages and we left it at that. But do you know how many people I enabled by kind of getting excited with letting them cross the boundary? And I think that's kind of where it's hard, because sometimes we are happy to cross that boundary. And so when we get happy about something or someone, or like wanting to give that love, wanting to show and express that we care or we're excited or whatever it might be, then you're kind of opening the door for many other boundaries to get crossed. But I do want to talk about the balance, because yeah, I'm like the boundary police, but I think there's a rigidity to me too, that having that balance of how to show love and give that, like, even like worry is love, right? And like giving and saving and fixing a problem for your child. So even like when your child falls and wanting to fix them crying, right? That's all love. How to have the balance of still allowing yourself to feel and give the love, and yet not teaching or enabling a person, your child, a partner, a dog, to start not really, what is it that I'm looking for? How did it explain it? To start expecting.
Yeah. Well, I think you're talking about like when to cross your own limits and like how to make sure that it doesn't turn into just changing the limit altogether. And there are different times. And I think what I often think about is like, I think just going back to frequency, intensity, duration of
Mm,
like, that's like really any question. If Poppy actually did, and if this was like an actual medical thing and Poppy actually needed something in the middle of the night, I would do it for her.
Of course.
Poppy is just because, and the reason why, let's be clear, I know she doesn't need the water because if my husband Charles is home alone,
Mhm.
everybody sleeps through the night, which Poppy is doing something very different.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess when I think about it and I'm like, in terms of actually crossing that limit, like there's sometimes that it makes sense. Like, a friend is like having a really tough night and is like, you know what, can you just come over? And it maybe is later or like kind of last minute and you just kind of do it out of instinct. But if someone was doing that every single day, there's no way you could maintain that.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And I think the other thing, it really depends, because one of the things that we talk about on this podcast is like for people that are a lot more high functioning and on the, I want to use the judgment healthier level of life living, right? Like people that are just more functioning. But if we kind of expand it and provide some context and information on people that are actually struggling with certain behavioral mental health issues and being able to set boundaries for them, I think that's the thing. One of the things is it's harder to like feel comfortable setting a boundary with someone that you see is struggling.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, like, when you see someone struggling, I think that's just normal human nature. Like, if I see someone struggling on the streets, like, my heart goes out to that person. And I want to try to figure out how to fix it, how to help them, how to save them. So, when you see someone emotionally struggling or expressing that they're psychologically struggling, you want to cross your own boundary to help them and to help solve their pain and solve their problem. But the issue is that helping becomes enabling because you're seeing them as someone that's fragile and vulnerable. So you want to fix that fragility and vulnerability. And it's actually true within children too, which is why like certain behavioral problems start happening. And it's also that's the thing where I always try to help people understand is the more you allow yourself to believe they're fragile, the more you're transferring that information to them. And the more they're kind of like, well, I can't take care of myself. So I am going to ask everyone to constantly cross their boundaries to take care of me because everyone thinks that I can't figure out how to get past whatever this is. Even though painful, they still have to learn to get past it on their own, which means those boundary settings, they we know this. Like, how many times have I had things thrown at me in sessions? Literally, I'm pretty sure, like, do you remember when someone threw their service dog poop at me because the dog pooped right at the time that I set a boundary? She just threw. Thankfully, I'm a basketball player, so I dodged that shit. Literally dodged the shit.
Pun intended. I do remember that, unfortunately.
But
Yes.
again, like that's the thing where I'm like, you can get mad at me for setting this boundary. You could throw literal shit at me. Um, but the reality is this boundary is going to be the reason you're going to start learning how to tolerate the discomfort of not getting what you want
Yeah.
and learning how to regulate yourself that you didn't get what you wanted.
Yeah. This is the banana berry blast problem in my household, which is that my husband Charles makes amazing smoothies. And I, for many years, got away with being like, just being like, I want a smoothie. And he would bring me one. And then one day he put his foot down and was like, make yourself a smoothie. You
Oh.
have the capability. And then I had to do it. And it sucked. I didn't want to learn how to do that. You know what I liked? I liked it when I thought smoothie and then it came to me. It was like this amazing setup. And he was like, there's no more smoothie fairy. And I really like the smoothie fairy. And I hope the smoothie fairy does come back if Charles is listening. But yeah,
Charles,
I set the limit.
bring the fairy back once a week. Cross your boundaries.
Yeah, I love, and so I had to learn how to make my own smoothies, and which is obviously a very small problem,
Sure.
and not even a problem. And I think it's these really interesting ways that like even somebody who is capable of doing things like making a smoothie can end up in this cycle of like, this feels pretty good. I like this. And it may not be sustainable for the other person, but I just didn't even want to think about it because it was such a good deal. Like, I'm having a stressful day, a smoothie appears. What a fucking awesome setup.
That's amazing, man. That's really amazing. And I think that's the thing where then, like, especially because we can use these everyday examples that we all
Yeah.
experience, everybody experiences, and then you can kind of like explain them in even the more heightened situations where those that are experiencing it in a more heightened well can understand like it is everyday things that we do. Like literally, one of my mom's things is that we have to call her every single day, all of us, because my mom's form of love is that she worries, right?
Yeah.
And her worries are sometimes like mom, I love you. I really do, but I really am gonna say this. Like I take hiking, I take Mingus hiking every single day, right?
Yeah.
And every single day my mom is worried that someone is going to like take out a needle and give me something that I'm going to like fall and die. And Mingus is not gonna like there's something bad is gonna happen to me. And these are literally her imaginations, by the way. So her love language of worry is not the healthiest. At least not even in your own psychology, it's not the healthiest. Love you, mom. I appreciate the love you give us. Really, I do. You're an amazing mother. Just worry less. Um, why was I going there? Remind me. I got anxious. My mom's gonna be mad at me now.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, just let that anxiety just ride the wave. We were talking about it because we were talking about these patterns that we can get to in the big and small ways in which boundaries occur, and that like, yes, these small examples are the like kind of building blocks of the bigger ones.
Yeah, and her worry is like a boundary, which we have to call her every single day because she worries. And I don't, and that's her boundary. That's kind of the way she's like, it's my boundary. Everyone has to check in with me. So I know that if I hear your voice, you're good. And for the rest of the day, I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Me being me and kind of being like, no, you have to learn to be uncomfortable. I don't like, my boundary is to not call you every single day. My boundary is to let you learn to regulate yourself. And you can check my Instagram because I have stories every single day. We are in a world of technology.
Check for a sign of life.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing where it's knowing oh, every day in our lives, there are always these like boundaries that are unhealthy and boundaries that are healthy and boundaries that are being crossed and boundaries that are, it's just a normal thing that happens because we are humans that love. We are humans that want to take care. We have empathy, we have sympathy, and those two emotions lead us to cross our boundaries. And we have to start like being a bit more observant of when we are enabling a person to have unhealthy habits. A person that you love is starting to build unhealthy habits because you would rather cross the boundary and make it easier for you than to use skills and regulate yourself and kind of hold the boundary and let the tantrum occur. Tantrums are going to happen.
Okay, well, and on that note, let him tantrum.
Let them tantrum, man.
And we're done. This season comes to an end today.
Oh, happy season 1 of Off the Clock Conversations with Lili and Lauren.
Look out for a pretty exciting first episode for a new season.
Really excited for a second season, first episode.
I am
It
too.
will be next week, or are we taking a week off?
I think it'll be next week. So look
Well,
out for that.
exciting things are happening on season 2. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday.
Bye.